Trump threatens Portland with troops to quell protests. The mayor says it's not needed. This is a fairly new story. It was published in... It says, let me see here. It says the Oregonian broke the story 19 hours ago, yesterday. But for ground news, it says it was updated 3 hours ago. So bias distribution, the right, 8%. Left is 29%, 63% coming from the center. There's only 30 articles on this when I started it, or when I found this morning. So let me refresh and see if there's any more. No, it's only up to 32 now. So not a huge well-known story yet. It doesn't look like. But let's get into the story from the Associated Press and see what's going on. So, a gas mask dangled from Deidre Watt's backpack as she joined a couple dozen others outside the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement building in Portland, just as she had many nights since July. The protesters towed the blue paint across the building's driveway. "Government property, do not block," read its white stenciled letters. When they lingered too close, what appeared to be pepper balls rained down on them from officers posted on the building's roof. No one was injured Wednesday, and some of the crowd began to dissipate by about midnight. While disruptive to nearby residents, a charter school relocated this summer to get away from the crowd control devices. The nightly demonstrations are a far cry from the unrest that crippled the city following the murder of George Floyd by Minneapolis police in 2020. Nevertheless, it has drawn the attention of President Donald Trump, who often sparred with the city's mayor back then. Last week, Trump described living in Portland as like living in hell, and he said he was considering sending federal troops, as he recently threatened to do to combat crime in other cities, including Chicago and Baltimore. He deployed the National Guard to Los Angeles over the summer and as part of his law enforcement takeover in Washington, D.C. Most violent crime around the country has actually declined in recent years, including in Portland, where a recent report from Major Cities Chief Association has found that homicides from January through June decreased by 51% this year compared to the same period in 2024. There's a propaganda campaign to make it look like Portland is a hellscape, said Casey Ledger, 61, who often sits outside the ICE building trying to observe immigration detainee transfers. 2 blocks away, you can just go to the river and sit and sip soda and watch the birds. The building is off of a busy road leading to Portland from the suburbs and next to an affordable housing complex. During the day, Ledger and a few other activists mill around the office and offer copies of Know Your Rights flyers featuring a hotline number for reporting ICE arrests. At night, Watts and other protesters, many dressed in black and wearing helmets or masks, arrive. She called ICE a callous and cruel machine. In the face of that, there has to be people who will stand up and make it known that that's not going to fly, and that's something that that's not something people will agree with. The agency did not immediately respond for a request for comment. The nighttime protest peaked in June after the nationwide No Kings marches, when Portland police declared one of the demonstrations as a riot. Since then, at least 26 protesters have been charged with federal offenses tied to the ICE building, including assaulting federal officers, according to the U.S. Attorney Office in Oregon. Like other mayors across the country, I have not asked for and I do not need federal intervention, Portland Mayor Keith Wilson said in a statement following Trump's threat. The city has protected freedom of expression while addressing occasional violence and property destruction, he said. There have been smaller clashes since June. On Labor Day, some demonstrators brought a prop guillotine, a display the Department of Homeland Security blasted as unhinged behavior. Wilson expects protests to stay focused on the area by the building, he said. Some residents of the adjacent apartments are upset about that. One sued to try to make the city enforce noise ordinance. She said she believed the noises are from bullhorn speakers and piercing whistling type sounds akin to air raid sirens that caused her eardrum to burst, and gas entered her apartment building that made her ill. A judge who heard the case sided with the city. Jesus. Rick Stipe, who has lived there for 10 years, said he accompanies some of the neighbors outside because they fear being harassed by protesters. I just want them to leave us alone, he said. I want them gone. A charter school next to the ICE building, the Cottonwood School of Civics and Science, relocated over the summer, saying that the chemical agents and crowd control projectiles put student safety at risk. Many parents and students were regular customers at Chris Johnson's nearby coffee shop, he said. He lamented that the schools move and the national narrative that the protests were a bigger deal than they are. I think people are very, very opinionated on either side. He said, it just creates a divide, which is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. Portland is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to. It is my favorite big city in the United States, and it's not even that big. But like I've been to a lot of places. I travel for work, and Portland is a jewel. It's unique in that it sits on the convergence of two rivers. It's less than an hour from a major mountain that's over 10,000 feet. You can go to the ocean. It's about an hour from the ocean. It's about an hour from the desert. Like, it's really a very unique place. And when you go there, when you're in the city, in my opinion, from what I have seen, living in Portland and going to Portland very regularly, it's actually been getting better. Like, the whole George Floyd thing, all of that reached a peak, and now Portland is kind of like in a state of like comeback. So I don't think that Trump threatening to send troops there is going to do any good. It's not going to help anybody. This is literally just instigation. So, hey, thanks for checking out this video from Nightly News this morning. If you wouldn't mind, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video or when we go live on Tuesdays and Fridays.